So I did the Inside the Hall podcast with my guy Alex yesterday. Really fun conversation. We went through every single Big Ten team, put them in five separate tiers in terms of contenders, and had a fun time for like 40 minutes. So go listen to that full episode. But I love Inside the Hall. I think they do great work. It's probably my favorite place that covers Indiana basketball. And every single year, Alex collaborates with Dylan Burkhart from UM Hoops, who we are also big fans of. We talk about things from UM Hoops all the time as well, to do their top 25 Big Ten players. They've been doing this for, I want to say, like 6 or 7 years now. And today is a momentous occasion because they have released their full list finally. They release it in little blocks of five players, and five, four, three, two, and one were dropped this morning. You can get this on both Inside the Hall and UM Hoops. Go check out the full list. We haven't talked about this list at all this year, and largely that's been because as I've been following along, I think they've nailed it. I think they've gotten pretty much every single thing right. I think if Carter and I do a list at some point, it's going to look pretty much exactly like Inside the Hall and UM Hoops' list looks right now. But to their top five, something interesting happened, and I don't know if I agree or disagree with it yet, but I didn't expect it necessarily at the end of this list. So let's talk about it. Purdue, the number one team in this league, has both the number one player in this league, Braden Smith, but also the number two best player in this league, Trey Kaufman-Renn. Again, according to UM Hoops and Inside the Hall's countdown. The rest of the top five includes Yaxel Lendeborg at 3, Michigan's high-profile transfer. Bennett Sturts at Iowa, the Ben McCollum tag-along transfer. And then Donovan Dent at 5, UCLA's new star point guard, is 5th. So I think this was a pretty consensus top five, and you could put these guys in really any order as long as Braden Smith is one. I would not have been really upset at however you arranged the other four based on what you believe. But in the end, Dylan and Alex together mutually decided not only does Purdue have the preseason player of the year, Purdue has the two best players in the Big Ten at the same time, Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Renn. Would this be your order as well? And why does it feel like this is news to me? If so, for some reason, I didn't expect that they would have both one and two. I knew TKR would be somewhere near the top, but I don't know if I expected two.
I think going into the video, I'm gonna be honest, I wanted to say I would flip Yaxel and TKR. And I think I'm gonna end the video with that feeling. But in the moment, because I'm looking at the list and I'm reading their write-ups for it, their reasoning makes perfect sense for TKR 2 and Yaxel 3. To be honest. I thought the most interesting part of the list was and I actually agree with this statement too, for what it's worth. But they called Bennett Sturts the most coveted pro prospect, or potentially the most coveted pro prospect in the conference. And that never crossed my mind until it was said. And then I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, the 6'4" point guard that can shoot 40% from three and check a little bit is probably the most coveted pro prospect in the conference at the
He's
moment.
on mock drafts the highest. He is a projected lottery pick in the 2026 draft. Yaxel is not. Yaxel is around 2025. So I think those are the only two first round projected picks. You don't see TKR anywhere. You don't see Donovan Dent anywhere. Braden Smith, usually a projected second round pick in mock drafts.
Yeah, I feel like to me, and the reasoning makes sense for TKR 2, Yaxel 3. If I'm Yaxel, the only way I get drafted is if I flip that. Like the not drafted, but excuse me, the only way Yaxel gets drafted where he wants to be drafted is if by the end of the year we flip that. Um, I think that's the only reason I might have went into the video thinking Yaxel was 2 and TKR was 3. But once I read the reasoning, honestly, I mean, 20 points per game, TKR, 6.5 rebounds, like in the Big Ten too. And obviously, Yaxel was extremely productive the previous year with 18, 11, and 4. But the conference it was in, I could see why you would put TKR 2 at the moment.
Yeah, I'm in a weird spot because again, my immediate reaction to that was I'm surprised. And then after 10 minutes of thinking about it, I was like, no, I'm not. Wait a second. TKR was an All-American last year. Not first team, I don't believe consensus, but I believe he was second team All-American in some spots. And he's returning. He's one of three returning All-American caliber players. Like you would basically have to bet that one of, and I'm not just camping for Yaxel, one of Dent, Sturts, or Yaxel are going to be first team All American good in order to elevate them over the proven commodities that Purdue has. So I think after thinking on it, I think it's the right move to put both of these guys there. Um, Now, if we are projecting like at season's end, I would bet that if we could handicap it, it's probably 50-50 that somebody leaps TKR. And TKR is not going to fall far, right? He might fall to three, but there might be three All Americans in the Big Ten, and there might be a team whose first option is actually putting up Braden Smith ish numbers in a way that TKR is not. But TKR's numbers are going to be stupid too. He's going to be the leading scorer on Purdue, and depending on how much his rebounding dips, he's still going to be on All American teams. So I don't have any issue with this. Again, I want to applaud Inside the Hall and Hoops for how good they did with this list. I think they nailed it. They pretty much found the consensus this year, and we've come really far. Also, by the way, because just a few short years ago, they didn't even put Braden in the top 25 coming off his freshman year. So again, not to shit on them because I love both these guys, but like normally it's a fun exercise for me to like let's hold these guys accountable and nitpick everything. There's nothing to nitpick this year. These guys did the perfect job. And it's a reminder, though, it's beating me over the head. This is the scary part. Purdue's going to be good. Like, when's the last time? Has anyone ever had the two best players in the Big Ten at once since I've been alive?
Darren Williams, D. Brown.
I don't even think go back to those years. That might have been true, maybe, but like
I don't know. I couldn't think
it's
of anybody else in the Big Ten those years. That's the closest. Uh, who was on them Draymond Green Michigan State teams? There was somebody else, right?
Draymond and nobody on the late years. On the early years, it was like Kalen Lucas, but I
Hmm.
don't like you. You just think even more recently. Think through like the last 4 or 5 seasons. Obviously, you had the Braden and Edey teams, but like, I mean, even last year, like John Tonji was the second best player in the league pretty comfortably. I don't know. You go back to like Johnny Davis, Keegan Murray year. Like, there are individual superstars who carry teams. I don't know that I've ever recalled a team ever possessing the two best players in the league at once.
I think the closest is Kaminsky, Sam Decker.
That's probably true. Even that, I don't think Decker was ever that close either.
I don't. Yeah, I think Kaminsky might have been one or two, and Decker was probably like five, six, seven. If
You
you,
had
if,
like you had Denzel Valentine through some of those years. You had young Carson Edwards, I believe, was in that era. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. But
crazy.
I mean, an 18 team league too, right? It's supposed to be very balanced in general. Depth is a huge part of this league, but I guess maybe a storyline for the year truly is how much separation should there be between Purdue and number two? Because I feel like people like to play the like, oh, Michigan and UCLA are kind of close. They could pick them off. Tom Izzo's the reigning champ. They could pick them off. If Purdue really has the two best players in the league, what are
Yeah.
we doing?
And I mean, like Fletch and Omer, how I mean, I know like Omer's ranking is going to be based upon zero college games. Like by the end of the year, how high is he on this list? You know what I mean? With some of the talent he exhibits. Obviously, like Bennett Certs is probably the most coveted pro prospect at the moment. Are we sure it doesn't end with Omer being the most coveted pro prospect? You know what I mean? Maybe even if he doesn't go to the draft next year, right? Just the way scouts are talking about him for when he were to eventually go as a sophomore, like he could be one of the biggest risers on this list. I know you mentioned that you think somebody's going to jump TKR. Oddly enough, I actually think that's probably going to be Donovan Dent because he has the most he has to do for UCLA to be good. TKR like probably is going to be the more winning player, like the better player, like who you want. But Donovan Dent's going to have to do a lot for that UCLA team to be where we think they'll be.
I do think if it were my list, I'd put Dent three, Yaxel four, and Sturts five. And again, I probably would have had Yaxel second coming into the summer, but it's been a really quiet summer for Yaxel Endeborg, and I maybe I'm overreacting to that. Maybe I'm not. Who knows? In summary, by the way, Dylan put a little chart together, which was really nice at the end of this too. How many points or how many players total did each team get in the Big Ten? And there's a numeric system here where like you got a certain number of points, more points for being near the top of the list, less points for being near the bottom of the list. And Purdue, Michigan, and Illinois each had four players crack this top 40 is what they did. And then UCLA, Oregon, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Washington, Michigan State all had 3. But interestingly, when you use the point system they had, again, the closer to the top of the list, the more points you get. Purdue was 1 with separation, 113 points. Nobody else was over 81 points. So they're in a tier of their own. Michigan was 2 with 81 points. UCLA and Oregon, or excuse me, UCLA and Illinois were 3 and 4 in the 70s. Yeah, you have to go all the way down to 13th in the league in terms of points won in this exercise before you find Michigan State.
Yeah, well, Cohen Carr was a little underrated. If I had to nitpick anything, I mean, 32 for my All-American is crazy. Like we will be jumping into that top 10.
We'll check it out.